All
I'm
right,
going to,
connecting.
Oh my God,
There we
Borg
go.
smashing my face corner.
Now,
So aren't we glad no one's seen the Borg in a while?
Just because you weren't here last week, Navis.
well, first things first, when I first connected to Discord today, it put a little alert icon next to the voice connected doodad. It seems to have gone now, but watch out for any other server-related issues to do with Discord. So basically, check your connections, folks. It seems to be their end. But we shall see. Right, so folks are still signing in for the moment, so I will let things run for a bit longer. In fact, whilst folks are signing in, I will turn off Ship Rumble. I will turn off intro theme. And I will go play intro video to give folks time to get with us. In the meantime, those who are watching will see you in a couple of seconds, folks.
Mics away.
I mean,
Hello, folks. Welcome to the continuing adventures of the USS Navis. I am MJ the GM, and I will be your games master for the next couple of hours. And with me are some, but not all, of the Navis crew. We are down our science officer, I am afraid. So we will just have to carry on without him. We have his permission to do so, so it's all cool. Hope to
Down
see
with
you
science, up with tactics. Down with science, up with tactics.
Captain, we've listened to your request and I've got 500 tons of mints.
We lose an Ori and we've got a Vibers. It's like, how often do we actually see those two in the same room?
Court says down with science, up with button.
Well, hang on a second. If you think about it, Ori, a hot tub, Trill, when they get their when they get to that pool with all the symbionts in it, that's a gigantic hot tub, really. Coincidence?
So alright, just reminding vibers of home.
Yeah, but they'll say they're not inviting random. I say random. A plethora of romantic interest into it.
Thank you for sanitizing what I said.
You mean you don't invite people into just in case they take on the aspect of an old host, so you can have an old natter? No?
I mean,
Which was a good episode of DS9, actually. It's nice to show the acting chops of the cast. Anywhoops, let's get on with this, because we have serious business to attend, which, you know, is as serious as we get, because we are at the battle, pardon me, not the batter.
The battle.
Fish and chips, please. Ship in a batter. Right, yes, we are at the Battle of Sector 001. A Borg cube is on course for Earth, and it is up to Starfleet to stop them. And one of the Starfleet ships, of course, is our ship, the Navis. And so the Navis has joined the heavy cruiser wing of Admiral Hayes' swarm attack plan. So far, we have lost one ship, the Budapest, which has been disabled rather than destroyed, but the fleet is still taking a bit of a walloping, nevertheless.
I'm just going to say that I'm really glad that I'm in an Intercell class rather than an Intrepid. God, can you imagine being in one of them in this fight?
Didn't we alter history and save that? Was it the Bozeman? I know there's one that we did.
The Bozeman
Budapest.
and the Lexington, as it turns out, and the Budapest, or was it the Appalachia? Let me check my notes.
I think it was the Bozeman because it got hit by the tractor beams because we kept targeting the tractor beam.
Yes, you've been very good at keeping other ships away from tractor beams. What was it? Yeah, I'll get back to that. But
keep on the piercing because these things are annoying.
so yes, absolutely. So it all comes down to tactics and the creation of traits. We have had a couple of near misses when the Borg managed to unleash one attack that pretty much robbed the Navis of all of its shields at almost once, which has resulted in no breach, but we did get the ship shaken, which means that which is why we've got this trait here for command penalty. So the captain has elected, in order to balance the negative trait that can happen, to give all those who attempt to make command checks a penalty, or rather at least make them more difficult for the next turn. But at the start of this turn, the Admiral in charge of the fleet, the outermost layer of ships start to bombard the Borg with torpedoes, whilst the innermost ships focus on targeting weapon emplacements. So as the wording suggests, Starfleet is using a layered swarm attack to try and disrupt the Borg as much as possible. So we've got the smaller ships over here with the Defiant, the Jaeger, and the Appalachia. They're the ones on the inner ring. The mid ring is taken up by the cruisers, the Thunderchild, the Bozeman, and we formerly had the Budapest. The heavy cruisers are the Madison, the Lexington, the Endeavour, and of course the Navis. But the Navis has been kind of jumping in and out of the various layers in order to help their Starfleet brethren out. Admiral Hayes, who's in charge of this, is on his flagship, which is the Madison, the Galaxy-class ship up yonder way. But nevertheless, we are starting this turn with a trait which the Starfleet heavy cruisers have used we're using to represent the heavy cruisers, giving us an advantage here. So this means that Borg attacks will be that much weaker because the innermost ships are targeting the weapon emplacements whilst the heavy cruisers are basically bombing them from afar. This will also give the middle layer ships a chance to kind of rest and recover a bit. But we also have a small problem on the Navis in that the Borg got a good old look at your ship and seemed to identify that something on Deck 9 looks very, very interesting. So you now have an intruder alert in the area with your Bifrost drive, not the Yggdrasil drive, like I've mentioned it there. So this is going to be an interesting turn, because you're going to have to deal with the intruders in some fashion or other. So we are going to get right to this.
Just before going,
yeah.
You're actually rolling now, though, rather than for the.
Yes, I was trying to speed things up by not rolling and just taking an average roll instead, but it was pointed out that it was allowing me to succeed far too often. So in order to make things fairer, the possibility of complications and indeed misses for the Borg needs to be brought back. So, very well. The players have spoken, and therefore I shall do. But so we start this turn as per usual with you guys getting to go first. Now, like I have said, you have a security problem. So it's a minor action for any character that wants to move from one place on the ship to another place on the ship, as long as turbo lifts are still active, which for the moment they are. So,
which would you like, Vibers? Do you want to go and beat up the Borg, or do you want to go and beat up the cube?
Think I should probably go beat up the Borg, because who takes the captain off the bridge in the middle of a battle?
But at the same time, our captain is better at
Yeah, good point.
better at hand to hand
And combat
has
in general.
dealt with and I've dealt with the Borg previously.
Although that being said, Vibers has put his security discipline all the way
Okay.
up, so
You've dealt with the Borg. I think you need it on the bridge, sir.
it's a fair point. Okay, now for Davis's
It's your call.
sake,
That's
I mean,
fine.
this seems fairly self-explanatory, but on the right-hand side of our map here, I have listed all the important bridge locations, or at least the various department locations that are active during a space combat. Due to the nature of the Navis being a technical testbed and having an engineering department score high enough, you have 2 ops-related stations. Nova's actually over here enjoying time on the Borg ship, without actually being on the Borg ship. Let me quickly note and clarify. Nevertheless, so Vibers was put on comms because comms can still do things like coordinate repair teams and all of that stuff. It can still create traits because he's a commander, but you can disengage from that place in order to go and deal with the intruder threat. So, yes, would you like, therefore, to have Vibers go first, then, in order to try and deal with this eventuality, or do you want to start off with a bit more ship combat first and then deal with the intruder-related problem? How would you like this to go?
I mean, Davis wasn't here last week, so I'm happy for him to go first.
Okay, right.
If,
All right,
so
then.
if you roll a complication,
So-
you're using your flipping Legion of Honours. Because we've burnt through an awful lot already.
So,
I'm off to go do security.
now, just to give you a hand here...
Oh no, he's going solo.
He's going completely on his own.
We'll need to grab some security people who actually.
Well, I mean, that's a point.
Raided.
You can either spend a point from the Navis's crew support, or maybe more than 1 point from the Navis's crew support, to activate some of your supporting characters, and therefore will allow some of your other fellow players to actually take part in that repel borders action. Or you can spend 2 points of momentum to essentially purchase a security team as a trait that you can carry with you. How would you like to do this?
So, anybody disagree with me pinching the momentum? And Edwards, are you bored?
Edwards is currently not engaged in the battle, just the same as Dr. Bertram isn't currently engaged in the battle.
I was told that Moss has no place in this battle.
I mean, certainly...
It might help on the Bifrost deck.
If you want to activate a main character whilst Alex and Gareth are using this, using supporting characters, that's probably a way around using up supporting characters. Pardon me. On the ship, your crew support.
Right, I can activate the Bravo and the Take and head in. Or we can take the security team and
have Edwards join you, maybe?
probably grab Edwards if you're up for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
So
let's go for the security team and grab an Edwards then.
that's going to cost you 2 momentum, but you're going to get the addition of a security team, so let me represent that. Not with words so much as we want actual folks on screen to represent it. So security, 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 security.
Apart from anything else, it's nice when it's a red shirt that comes back at me as a Borg 5 minutes later.
Can you say expendable, kids? Okay, so we are having
Edson Lynch?
Edwards as well. Edson Lynch, yes indeed. Alright, so let's take this to Deck 9. So, yes, Edwards is free to be deployed, and the security officers are there as a trait rather than actual something else. So they can assist you either by making... they can assist you by either making your to-hit roll easier, or by allowing you to get more on a damage roll. Your choice, but you can only use them once in a turn. So your minor actions were to basically get here to Deck 9 and the Bifrost drive, and you can see a pair of what look like Borg drones having a good old look over the drive itself. So you've still got a major action with which to act.
Okay.
So essentially Vibers is the one putting this together, so Vibers gets to act first.
Okay, I'm assuming we both get to act before the Borg do.
Yes.
Good, that means the phasers will probably still work.
So far. You mean you haven't tried them
Right.
yet, but...
I've not done much research on Borg tactics. It wasn't that important in the tactical training I was doing, so I think as long as we set it to high settings and keep doing it, it'll be fine. So, in which case...
Well, targeting a Borg drone is a control and security task with a difficulty of 2, especially because the guy is not using cover of any sort. He's busy, got his back turned to you, in fact.
Actually, think about it. You might be onto something. If we literally just try to... Because you're going to have, like, implants for hearing, that kind of thing. Or at least some biotech into it. If we just literally just try to do the equivalent of blow the circuits on whatever audio implants they have, rather than try to actually stun. We're not going to be able... There's not going to be the same kind of effect, so the only thing we do is try to literally overload the hardware.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you grabbed one of those in your pocket on the way down?
They're on every deck, so we'd be able to grab them, yeah.
Yep,
Right.
which is why I gave Edwards a Type 2 phaser as well.
Okay. Do I have any focuses up high here?
Not really.
Nope.
Which is a shame because you got sonic weaponry there, so you could have taken the sound gun.
That would require thinking ahead.
Okay, we got a 1986, which is 1 success, which is a miss. I am afraid.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh, no, I didn't stretch to do that. So there we are. Let's do that again. Fatwish. So luckily, it was close. You came close to hitting the Bifrost drive there. But you've at least got their attention now. So, that was Vibers' turn. Now, in the interests of... Actually, that's a good point. Were you using the... Let me go back here. Were you using the security team to assist you with attack or with damage?
Let's use for attack.
So we can... Let's make that a hit then. So could you roll me essentially damage for the phase? You're using the Type 3, so this guy gets knocked down. Ba-boom! Nice, nice, nice. Now, that means... Now, do I do it, or do you? Nah, it's gotta be me. It's gotta be me. I rolled a 6. Okay. Alright, so Vibers comes in, and with the security officers also offering supporting fire, he lets fly and damages one drone, and it just falls twitching to the floor. Cool. Now let's get back to the main thing. So now it's one of you has had a turn. Now it's the Borg's turn, which means I'm actually now going to start rolling for shit. So let's see. They want their little buddies to be having time to have a good old examination, but at the same time they're being bombed the absolute crap out of, so they are going to want to try and make things easier for themselves now that it's harder for them to damage. So let's see if we can get a command Borg to give us a trait that we can use to counteract that. Ooh, I got a complication. In order to adapt to that, I am going to dump 3 threat to ignore the complication, but that also means that the Borg fail to come up with a directive that can overcome the fact that they are having their weapon emplacements being blown to smithereens. Alright then, who of you goes next?
There you go.
Do you want to... Now this becomes an interesting bit. Because we are last time we had Alex as as helm, but now of course we've got the problem with the borders. So I'm assuming you want to take out final drone.
Yes.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, Vibers has used the security team trait, so it's not available to Edwards to use. But that doesn't mean that you can't. We can't see Edwards do something on his own. So, you basically got summoned here, so you still have your minor action and your major action to do with as you will. The sound gun needs, what's it called? It's not cumbersome, it's that thing where you need to configure it. Charge, considering grenade intense piercing. It's not on these handheld weapons anymore. Interesting. In that case, ignore me. You have... I would say if you want to try and use this thing to just plain overload, use your minor action to basically create a trait so that the sound gun now essentially does lethal damage.
I suppose it would be lethal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because you're looking to actively damage. So, I won't... No, I won't ask for a roll for that. Just the attack roll itself.
I mean, if you want to use something, I could count it as jerry-rigging. So it only, like, works...
Yeah, but anytime you roll a dice, it suggests that you're taking a major action to do it, and this is a minor action to reconfigure the thing, in a similar fashion to the way Gareth, who will take command of Claude, as the tactical officer, just reconfigures the phasers to target something. So I'm good with it just being a minor action to reconfigure the thing. You still have to hit, of course, and you still have to do damage, so we will see how we do. So this is control and security, as before. If there is any foci you have that can be used to apply to this action.
Nope.
Alright then it's just going to be control and security. Difficulty 2. We got a 1. You do have the option of using your point of determination to reroll if you wish, but that means that you're going to be using your 1 point of determination. Unless you can think of a way to use one of your values to make life difficult for yourself in the near future. In which case I can give you back a point of determination once you do that.
I'd say this is risky enough, and I'm probably not going to be able to use him again outside of this kind of boarding action, so I'll just use it.
Okay, fair enough. So re-roll the 18, basically.
So just 1 dice. Yep.
Whoa, much better. So that's 2. That's a hit. So damage. It's
3
damage. Okay.
It is just that, isn't it?
So, let me have a look. Immune to fear, immune to pain, adaptive shielding. Well, you're using an entirely different weapon system than the one that killed the other Borg drone, so that's great. These guys are standard Borg. They have no stress track, they have no determination, no threat pool of their own, and therefore that one is dealt a blow, and you basically blow out its audio receptors, which causes a feedback in its cavitation inside of its skull, and the thing just drops dead. Nice! Well done. Okay, so that's those two. Let's go back. It's now the Borg's turn again. Right, damage is going to be a problem, but damage is rarely a problem. We're within range of this pesky little ship. It's going to be easier if we just knock their shields the hell out, so let's do attack pattern. Alright, one of you can go next. So, we've dealt with the boarding action. Nice, nice. So, Vibers has essentially gone.
Captain, Bifrost drive secured.
So, once more, sensors, of course, can be used to scan for weakness in order to give your weapons the piercing quality, which means you ignore the ship's resistance, which is just as well, because the Borg cube has got a hell of a lot of resistance. You can use your commanding officer in the command section to try and get some, either create a trait or buy some extra momentum for the pool. If your helm officer elects to use either attack pattern or evasive action, they basically declare it on their turn and they wait, because it's either, if it's evasion, then it means that the Borg ship has to try and attack against your helm officer's ability to dodge, but if it's an attack pattern, then your helm officer gets to assist your tactical officer's attack. So it all comes down to what you think you'd want to do first. I think, if I recall, that Commander? Sorry, I downgraded the captain there for a second. Oof. Used direct before in order to get your tactical officer to open fire, so that you could do it twice in a turn. Command. I mean, you can do that again, but it costs you a momentum to do so. So it's entirely up to you guys what you think you would want to do next.
What we all feeling?
I mean, do you want to declare your helm action, or do you want to try and see if you can set up the piercing thing first?
Well, we're doing a torpedo run, so probably set up the action then.
Set up the attack pattern. Okay.
Yeah.
No one else got any ideas as to what they want to do at the moment?
Nope, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
It's probably going to come more towards the end when it's set up.
Piercing up.
Yep.
When it comes to sensors.
So, one voice of dissent. But I'll take the majority and have Helm Officer declare attack pattern, which means it's the Borg's turn again. They are likewise going to try to scan for weakness, which is control and science, aided by the ships. Well, sensors and security. I almost had a 1 there. Alright, they fail. It seems this bombardment's really costing them at the moment. This could be your lucky turn. Alright, so they attempted to scan for weakness. They failed, so one of you guys gets to go next.
Do we want to set up a trait, or do we want to go for the...
I mean, you're a bit low on momentum, so...
Yeah. Right, so we want to scan for a weakness, or something like that?
Yeah.
See if,
Go
yeah.
by last time, we need a lot of setup.
Yeah.
Alright. Sean, do you fancy being Ori for the moment, please? And Webby, you can be the Navis. So I'm going to want control and science from Ori, and we're going to want sensors and security from the Navis.
Sensors focus on zoom.
Yes. Difficulty, I believe, is 2. Those are some good successes from... oh, that's 4, so you got 2 over what was needed, so let's bank those. That means that your weapons now have the piercing quality. Nice, nice, nice. So yes, Ori scans and manages to find a flickering spot on their deflector shields where they are, of course, being pummeled mercilessly by the rest of the fleet. Which means it's their turn. Right, blimey. Haven't been going very well for this. What have we done? We've tried doing a scan for weakness. We've tried setting up a trait to counteract the torpedo bombardment. Do we want to try one more? How many of you are left? There's your tactical, there's your 2 operations guy, well, your 1 operations guy left. So... let's... let's try one more time to create a trait to negate this whole damage reduction thingamajig. This is going to be off of the controlling Borg. And I don't get it. No, they're trying their best, but they cannot find the protocol to overcome this intense swarming attack. Alright, who's up next for you guys? Command or tactical or ops?
Are we in a position to actually hurt them at the moment?
Whilst you've got piercing on, yes. Their shields have still got a lot in them, but depending on your level of success with your attack, you could do a nice chunk of extra damage, potentially. As any extra you get, of course, over the difficulty to hit them is going to be extra points you can put into potentially upping the damage. Plus, if you use phaser arrays, you automatically get 2 points of momentum on a successful hit, which you can only use to spend on that weapon doing its thing. You can't bank it, so that's at least 1 extra point of damage right there if you can succeed with a phaser array attack. But again, now that you've got 4 momentum in the pool, I mean, Webby, your command options now are somewhat different. You could totally try and create another trait if you wanted to perhaps lower the difficulty of an attack.
Sounds good to me.
Alright, so this is going to require presence and command. It's going to be difficulty 2. You've probably got your tactics focus. And anything else like a talent or whatnot that might aid. Okay, that's 3 successes. Blimey. So you not only manage to gain the trait, but you manage to get 1 extra to put in the bank. Nice. So let's make that with the Borg's with the Borg obviously suffering from numerous difficulties with this new tactic. Andrews implements a rather interesting tactic to
attack pattern, kick him in the nuts.
To make it easier for you guys to hit. Alright. I like. Alright, which means it's their turn, so, I do here. Boom, ba boom, 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 boom. Well, still got attack pattern. There's no word back from the boarding party, but we're kind of under threat here, so... what are we going to do? We are going to try and negate that trait you just put in place. But it's going to be a lot harder for me to do so because I've already done command twice, so... gonna add get a dice by spending threat. And I don't get it. Ordinarily I would have, but I've done this once too many times, so yes indeed, you're really pushing the Borg this time. So, you guys. Well, all that's left now is... attack, attack, attack!
Shooty, shooty, ben, ben.
Indeed, so if we are using an attack pattern, then that means that Claught rolls control and security, where they focus, but you also get assistance from Thazanan using... what was it? Well, let's have a look. That's why we've got the reference cards. So Helm, for attack pattern, so Alex, this will be you. Control and Con, rolling 1 dice, will be assisting Claught's shooty bang fire. And let me see. I mean, Webby, do you want to be the Navis again?
Can do if you want.
Yep, so weapons and...
Davis hasn't rolled for a
Davis
while.
hasn't rolled?
Or Alex.
Alright.
Go on then, I'll do the Navis.
Are you saying you're going to have Davis as the Navis?
Well,
Yeah,
Alex,
with the Navis.
Alex is rolling as your Helm officer, since that's where he was last time.
Right,
And when it all
what's
goes
the
to
Navis
pot,
rolling?
we know
So-
who is to blame.
The Navis is using weapons and security. 1
Say
dice.
2 dice or 1.
1 dice for you because you're assisting.
Does the Navis have a focus in torpedoes? Sure we do.
If it did, we're dealing with a whole different set of problems.
Are we doing a torpedo run? Is that right, Captain?
Yeah, we're doing talk.
Okay.
We're doing torpedoes, are we? Oh, okay. Alright then.
And that's
Okay.
what the admiral said, is that we're a
Yeah,
heavy
okay.
cruiser. We should be on a torpedo bombardment.
Alright,
We've
no,
also
that makes
got
sense.
Quite a few quantums on board.
Yeah, quite. So this is going to be one hell of a salvo. I mean, do you want to make it a salvo?
Well, I have got this. Full spread, maximum yield.
Because when you add a salvo, if I can just find the rules on this actually, because they've always been a bit nebulous to me, so I'm just going to have a look. That's piercing salvo. Let's go back a step. Right. So, firing a salvo grants either area or spread quality. Spread, I mean, it doesn't make sense to do area because you're focusing your fire in one precise area. So, spread. Attacks with this weapon reduce the cost of devastating attack momentum spend to 1. Devastating attack. Ooh. Was the type to do. In case it's not obvious, folks, this is me still learning the rules. So you can hit an additional system, which takes half the original attack's damage. So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And
But
the
you do add
threat
1
is-
threat, usually. You used to add 1 threat when you did a salvo. Is that the case anymore? Let me find out. Salvo. Right, so torpedoes may be fired in a salvo. Firing a salvo of torpedoes adds 3 threat instead of 1, but also adds 1 to the damage rating. But if you do that, it will allow you to spend 1 momentum to up the damage rate It will allow you to use 1 momentum to make it hit twice.
But since Claught's got full spread,
Yeah. Says gains the
We don't
benefit
need
of
to pay
devastating
for that.
attack as though momentum.
As
has
though
been spent.
momentum has been spent, so you don't even need to... Yeah! Wowzer! So you don't even need to spend the momentum. Awesome!
and you're on max threat already, so throwing an extra 4 at you ain't gonna help.
So, in addition to the normal benefits of salvo, which means that the normal penalty of salvo, as in giving me 3 threat, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
happens,
Like
you
double
don't
12.
have to spend momentum to get devastating attack. Oof. Alright, so, let's see then. It's down to, well, you've got 2 successes. Attack was easier by a factor of 1. Usually torpedoes are difficulty 3. We've brought it down to 2. You've already got 2 successes, so now it's down to whatever Claude rolls to add more to the pot.
Successes.
2 successes, you've got a maximum of... So you can bank 1... Well, actually, let me before I decide for you. So yeah, that's 2 successes over what you needed. You can either bank 1... Actually, you're probably best not even banking 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to just funnel everything we can
Dump
possibly squeeze into
Yeah,
damage?
dump it into damage.
Okay. So then, before I forget, actually, that command penalty will go away at the end of this turn because you served it. So,
I really hope when the Enterprise eventually turns up, there's just this decimated Borg cube. We're like, sorted it, guys. You did good, Picard. You did good.
No. What's really bad is they get in just in time for the Navis to send that general message. Well, that was fun. So where's the Borg threat?
I thought they'd turn up just as a second cube arrives, and they never knew it was a different one.
That's why they won so easily, yeah, because the fleet's already been decimated by the first.
No, they sent an extra Borg cube along with the actual one because they realised the Navis was going to be here.
well then. Right, so, whoever was controlling the Navis can just give me the damage for quantum torpedo. Yeah, that was Davis?
Yeah, it was Davis on the Navis.
Davis on the Navis. Alright, so we've got a lot of stuff to read into here. Okay, so we've established we've got... It's standard 8 damage, but we've fired a salvo, which means it goes up to 9 damage. You got 2 momentum over what you needed. It's 2 momentum to add an extra point of damage. So you said you were adding all those, so it's now 10 damage.
Does the
Okay.
devastating attack add more as well?
So let's have a look. Quantum... So devastating attack means you hit a second time.
Oh.
And it'll be doing half the damage of the original. So if we're at 10, the next one will be doing 5. But let's get there first, because we've also got the actual torpedo's traits to have a look at here. Long range torpedo calibration, which Claude would have had to have done before launching it, so that's fine. High yield means that this inflicts massive damage. If the attack inflicts 1 or more breaches, it inflicts an additional breach. But it hasn't yet. Intense. When making an attack with this weapon, you may increase the damage by 1 by spending 1 momentum rather than 2. Wow, okay, so what I said before, we haven't gone up to 10, we've actually gone up to 11.
Ooh.
You can make it even more by spending momentum, if you wish.
Yeah,
I feel we should.
I feel we should.
1
5,
momentum
max.
per 1 point of extra damage.
Shall we spend 3?
I feel so, yeah. Pile it on.
Alright, Nick, take 3 momentum out.
So does that make it 40? Or we could always push to 4 if we want to be risky to push it up to an even 15. How many breaches would that be?
So take off however much momentum you think you're gonna. I will say, Webber, you do this.
Alright.
As captain. So 3 momentum in total, adding... So that was 9, that was 10, 11. This is now up to 14. Groovy. You ignore the resistance because you had the piercing quality on your weapon, so all of that 14 goes straight into doing damage to their shields. Which means... Oh. Look at that. You've made the Borg ship shaken.
Not stirred.
which essentially means that there's a rule that says for NPC ships, every time they get their ship gets the shaken condition, they always use brace for impact, which means that the Borg essentially lose 1 turn on their next go. But we're not yet done, folks, because we fired a salvo and we opted for the multi-shot hit, and because we upped the damage to 14, the next one is a nice round 7, which means you knock the Borg shields past the 25% left as well. So, criminy day, you've hit them for a second time, which means they suffer a breach.
Yay!
But not only do they suffer a breach, because you've used quantum torpedoes, and these are high yield, it means they suffer a second breach.
Yay!
Bada boom! Right, that means that is in the yellow. That's giving me a color-coded what have you. Ship damage, ship damage, ship damage. What is the dealio with ship damage? So, if the shields are at 25%, if the ship is already shaken, it suffers a breach as damage punches through the shields. So what is the deal with breaches now? Is it a set thing like we had previously, or is it essentially a condition? So give me a second, folks, while I find this to see if they've changed it from what it was before. Right, so the ship suffers a breach instead. Breaches, 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 not to be confused with breaches.
We'll breach their
A breach is a trait which represents serious damage to the ship and or crew and is associated with the damage struck by the task. Okay, wow. Gonna make things difficult. Okay, so let me think. I will say that serious hit you just gave them introduces the structural damage trait, which will lower their resistance by 1. For the moment, because that's their first breach trait. But, big old but. Right, so that's one thing. Where is that other thing? Oh, I gotta do this then for the Borg to see what happens as a result of that attack. Oh, hello! What does that mean? Okay. Alright then. Okay. Alright. Well, that was, I must say, guys, one colossal attack. So, this was basically a flurry of quantum torpedoes that got heaved out of the torpedo bay there, and you did significant damage there. Good lord. So, ooh, right. The Borg are therefore going to 2. Now, they still have reserve power, so they can still do weapons-based attacks. So, do they?
Aren't they on brace for impact, like you said, so they lose their next turn?
Yeah, so I've got to decide whether or not the one that loses is tactical or if it's ops. Ooh, dear me, dear me, dear me. What a pickle you've put me in. Right, yeah, okay. You've forced me to have to rethink my strategy here. So the attack pattern is going to be held over for next turn as they are forced to repair their shields. Right, just so I remember. I believe it's 2, but I could be wrong. Operations, regenerate shields. Power or damage control. Now, let me just read the... Okay. Damage control, same thing. So, they're going to have to deploy repair teams to try and take care of that. So, that's going to be that and that with a focus. I am going to throw in a threat to try and get this done a little better. 2 successes. Was that what I wanted? Exactly on what I wanted. So, they have seen to their structural damage, so they are regenerating. They've still been breached, and their shields are still way the heck down. And yeah, you've made me miss my tactical turn, so well done. Nicely done. Alright then. So, the only thing left is your own operations. I mean, thanks to what's just happened, then Nova doesn't have to rejig the power or bring shields back, so Nova is pretty much got the ability to do whatever she thinks might help. I mean, you can try and create a trait to assist in next turn's tasks somehow, or well, basically the world is your oyster. If anything you can think of to either aid this turn or next turn, something to carry over for next turn maybe.
Is Sean back or not?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, I can see his.
I suppose you'd set up something to rotate the frequency of the shields so that they're no longer all synced. So if one unit gets taken down, it doesn't take a lot. Try and reduce the damage into shields.
Okay, alrighty. Rejig the shields. So that
Are
sounds.
you plugging the rainbow alert system into it?
That, I believe, is part of the Navis's charm and character.
Yeah, second we can get into a dry dock for a long period of time. It's like, can we rip this out, please? And then we realise that this Admiral Hughes is the one that recommended that it gets put in. Like, thank you,
But then-
Admiral.
Find out that having that in is the only reason the turbo lifts actually work.
Yeah, someone's buggy wiring.
Alright, then Sean, give me a control and engineering then, please, for the shields. Let's create you a trait. Ooh, look at that! So 2 momentum back in the pool already. Alright, so rotating shield frequencies. Oik. Let's give that one a bit more room. Okay. Nice. Successfully created a trait for next turn and got bonus momentum in the pool. Cool. So they can't take their next turn. They are essentially done. So on to round 6. Alright then. This is when the Borg do something, it seems, that was a bit unexpected. Once permission, the character gains 2 bonus momentum on a successful task that may not be saved. If the characters earn the Medal multiple times... What was Medal of Honor for?
I was going to try and... it doesn't matter, I don't think I've got the action for it.
Okay. Alrighty, right. So the Borg transmit a subspace pulse that overloads all of the Oberth ships hanging back out of the just out of the combat zone,
Told you they were useless.
which disables the sensor and comms jamming, and therefore also opens up the secure communication frequency that the fleet has been using to coordinate. It means that the Borg can probably now access it, but plus it also means that the interfleet communications now is essentially down with that massive disruption. So it essentially means that the Admiral is unable to communicate with the rest of the fleet. So it looks like, at the moment, in order to counteract this, Admiral Hayes is turning the outermost ships in a kind of a visual effort to try and suggest that the other ships withdraw and regroup as well. Unfortunately, though, with the communications scattered, the withdrawal is extremely haphazard and messy, which allows the Borg to get a lead on the Bozeman and basically punches them out of the sky with a range of graviton torpedoes, as well as knocking out the Lexington as they see it turn to leave. So you have lost 2 more ships. Let me take away torpedo bombardment because that's no longer the case. So,
Are those ships disabled or just destroyed?
well, for the moment they're pretty badly damaged. But you have got a different problem insofar as that the fleet is now, well, you're not sure what's going on. From the outer ring, as it were, you can see the admirals, the other heavy cruisers are turning about to try and regroup, but you've got a very messy withdrawal going on in the inner and mid rings. So it's essentially down to you guys what you think you want to do. Do you want to join the withdrawal, or do you want to help maybe cover the other ships?
I think we would cover. That's my opinion. I'm quite happy to be overruled by majority.
Thoughts?
No, that sounds like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. So, yes, absolutely. The Borg are going to get a chance to take out more ships if they don't have something to occupy them. But you've already done damage, got a bit of damage to your sector that you've been attacking them. Plus, you have rotating shield frequencies as an extra defensive measure, which is nice. So, what do you want to do then? This is round 6. One of you gets to start.
I've got a crazy plan if anyone's interested.
Go on.
I think we should fire a full spread of holographic torpedoes set to do Morris dancing on the Borg ship.
Don't the Borg have a tendency to ignore anything
That's not a
leads
threat.
onto the ship? Yeah,
Exactly.
unless it's actively doing something to attack the ship. So I don't. The Morris dancers there, the Borg could probably just ignore them.
Be funny.
That's great, especially when we changed the programming in about 5 minutes to start unplugging random things as they walk.
Navis, the Morris Dancers of War was a one-time thing, so I'm trying to recreate it.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Do you reckon the Borg are trying to actually disrupt us and cause chaos on the ships to try and buy time to regain their shields?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've got to keep the assault on them.
Yeah. So,
I think we need to draw their fire by hammering on them, so that they know that we're still firing on them and we're covering the other ships.
if we switch to phasers, then I can use the shield breaker fin to try and keep their shields down.
Mm-hmm.
And if the shields keep down, then hopefully some of the other ships will when its attention is on us, start pummeling them while they're vulnerable. Claude says.
Yeah. No, I think that's realistic. Is that we would try and force them. How I see the Navis go is that we would be covering the smaller ships on the retreat. So, like you say, is we're firing at them to draw the fire, but also encouraging the other ships as they're pulling back to continue firing in the areas where we are.
Yep, sounds good.
Did I apply that correctly? I think I did, didn't I? Yeah, it was... Yeah, I did. Breach and breach. Yeah, cool. So, groovy. So it looks like you're going to try and basically hammer them for all you're worth. Cool. So that sounds to me like you need to do certain things in order to try and make sure that you can hammer them down. So, by all means, start setting up your attack. You've got 4 momentum in the momentum pools, so you've got some to play with if you need to. So
I'd say we'd be aggressive at this point.
So
we want the Borg to fire on us, so we'd be an attack pattern.
So do you want that to be your first declared action? Is the attack pattern from your helmsman?
Yeah.
Righty. Right then. Borg. Yeah. Yeah, shields. Shields needs to be a priority. Let's deal with shields. So that is going to be... Control and engineering. You gave me threats, so I'm going to spend it. 3 successes. It is operations. Regen shields is difficulty 2, with assistance from structure and engineering from the ship. It was a 1. Okay, so overall it was a 5 when I needed 2, which means I gained 1, 2, 3. Which means that shields goes up by the rating of the Borg drone who was doing the thingamajig. Which means it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, wrong. I can't count. But I get to spend... if successful, the ship's gains shields equal to your engineering department, plus 2 more for each one spent. So let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4. To give me 2, 4, 6, 8. No, actually, you did quite a number, so I'm gonna do 2 more. Burn through my threat here. To at least get past 50%. Alright, so that was their first action. Your next action.
Let's scan to see where their shields have not come back up quick enough then.
Okie dokie. Sean, do you fancy being Ori again? And Alex, do you fancy being the Navis, please? The Navis will be doing sensors and security, whereas Ori will be doing control and science. Difficulty 2. Oop, looks like you got it already, so good grief. 3 successes. 1 extra can go into the momentum bank, and you do indeed spot some very telling weaknesses in the Borg's electromagnetic shield. From them having to rush to get things back up and operational again. Nice, nice, nice. Which means it's their turn again. They are going to do... You know what, they're going to do the same thing you did. No, that's the wrong one, Matt. Wrong one. Scan for weakness. Now, I want to keep some of my threat pool. Ooh! This might not work for them again. 2 successes, exactly what I needed. But no extra. Alright then, your turn. Who's next? So far we've had Helm, we've had sensors. We've still got...
Are we going for the advantage again for the command?
Can do.
Or do we just want to hit?
Depends, what kind of trait do you want to create? If you want to create one at all.
Look at me.
The over here one again, basically.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Can I distract your attention for a moment?
Would sir like to look over here at this ship?
Wait a minute, their shields are down at the moment, you say?
No, their shields are regenerating.
They're regenerating quite quickly. We reckon that they've sent that pulse up to disrupt communications to buy themselves time to repair the damage we did.
I didn't know if the shields were actually down, it was just healing. Didn't you use your gym badges last time?
I have one left, so we ignore the complication, but I can't re-roll it.
Alright then. One left, so didn't manage to create. So that's again the communications disruption coming into play. It even has affected you guys. So fortunately the captain was not able to use her wiles and wits to create an advantage, which means we come back to the Borg. The Borg. Right, so we've got that set up, we've already done power. You know what, sod it. Let's just attack!
Hang on a sec, hang on. Is it a direct? No, it's not a direct task, is it?
You can spend
doing
1 or 2 momentum to direct somebody to take an action outside of their turn, yes.
Oh, I thought it was the actual direct is in a gaining a trait, but no.
Now, create a trait is one thing. Directing somebody costs you momentum, and you get to assist them with your control and command.
I'm tempted to spend my medal then, if we need to fire now. It's that one, I believe.
Now, the implication here is that you are... What have you done here? You tried to do presence and command to create a trait.
Yeah, but then it's now moving it. Yeah, so I'll when use that on when we fire then.
So use that roll or use that... Oh right, so you're putting that up to be used once per mission. When a character uses the direct task, they may treat their d20 as if it had rolled, so someone else gets to use the direct task?
Yeah.
Which is actually possible. Vibers could override command so that he can do command from his position in order to try and direct someone to fire.
Well, I was actually just going to hold it for when Claude fires.
Why would Claude direct himself to fire?
No, directing Claude to fire at the exact moment, so he uses it as a 1.
Ew.
So you treat a d20 as if he's rolled a 1. So at the point of firing, Claude rolls a 1.
Yeah, is it your action to direct someone to do something?
Yes.
Is it? Alright, okay.
Let me get the actual thing. Alright, direct. You spend 1 momentum and select 1 ally on the bridge who immediately attempts a single major action, and you assist them by rolling a d20 with your control and command. So, on your turn, you are taking a major action to tell someone to take a major action outside of their turn, which means they can essentially act twice.
Yeah, so it was my turn that should have been that, so yeah.
Oh well.
It's
Next
always
time.
next round.
Next round. Like I said, though, Vibers could, on his turn, go from comms to override command, and try to do it himself.
But I don't have that medal.
You don't have that medal? That's a good point. Never mind then. So
I can do an engineering fix, but that's not going to help much.
Okay, so let's just deal with what the Borg are doing, which is shoot, bang, fire. So they are within. I mean, you're doing attack, which means that it's actually difficulty 2 for them to hit you. So, they're going to use control and security. Ooh. Aided by the ship's weapons and security. Aided by the navigators' control and con? Because they made an attack pattern. Boom. Oh, I thought that was going to be another one. Right, so attack pattern goes away for them. They are attacking Baboom with their... they're in close enough. They're going to attack with the cutting laser. So that is 4 successes. 2 successes were needed. Boom, boom. 2 extra threat added, which means we get to use the energy cutting beam. This is going to hurt. Intense, which means it changes it from needing 2 threats to up the damage by 1 to being 1. But let's see how 6... It's already got piercing on it, so... We get to ignore your ship's resistance, which is considerable for a ship its size. It's going to do 16 damage. 16... Where's halfway for you guys? I am going to need to do... Probably more than that. 16. Ooh, ouch. 6 off of that is that. Off of that is that. Okay. Yep, I'll bank the threat, actually. Ba-boom! Cutting laser. Your ship is shaken, so feel free to give me the Star Trek shake. So, yes, your ship is shaken for the moment because you've taken... well, your shields are now at less than 50%. They're still over 25% though, so you're alright for now. That was 1 shot. They managed to knock your shields down by quite a bit. Like 2/3. But that was their turn. Now it's your turn. Oh, hang on. You're rotating shield frequencies. I forgot to include that. Let's take the amount they damaged you out by that much. So it's not quite as much because Sean did set that up. There we are. So you've lost less than you actually otherwise would have.
Can the direct task fire now? Because if it's on you make someone do it instantly, or does it have to be that it's now that because it was my go was trying to build the advantage?
Yes, so by all means, another command character can try and take over. Well, somebody can try and take over command in order to use the direct. So you're going to need to.
Yeah, but the medal won't work, so there's no point. I'd probably say we just fire.
Just fire?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Am I prioritising the shields, like we were saying with the phasers?
I'm going to go with, since that was what you agreed to do to start with.
Yep. Okay.
Because you're looking at using the shield buster.
Shield breaker. So you may spend 1 momentum to target shields. If you do, then you increase the intensity rating of the energy attack by 2. This attack cannot inflict breaches. And if you do strip them down to 0, it adds difficulty to regenerate shields. Nice. So, bearing in mind also that the phaser array has got the versatile quality, which means you will automatically gain 2 momentum, which cannot be saved.
So is it control and security?
So control and security to fire. Let's have... we also need our helm officer to assist that with control and con. And we need the ship... Webby or Sean, do you fancy being the Navis? Who fancies being the Navis?
Alex not rolled for a while.
Well, Alex is about to do helm assist.
Alright, okay, yeah.
Which was that one there.
Go on, Sean.
Okay, Sean. Going to be weapons and security. 1 dice for the Navis, please. Oh, almost a 1, but rolled over onto a 13. But nevertheless, with shield breaker and ship phasers going out. Let's see. Usually it is a. How close are you? Usually it's a 2. You got 5. So you can bank 1, have 4.
Do we want to just shove it all into damage on the
I was
shields
about
again?
to say.
Yeah, just shove it all in.
Yeah.
So, Sean, if you could show us the damage that phaser array usually does, please, by clicking on it. Nice. So it's usually 9. It automatically creates 2 momentum, which you can spend to up the damage by another 1. You've got shield breaker.
Yeah.
Which increases the weapon's intensity rating by a further 2. So it's gone from 9 to 12. Not bad at all. And there was an extra set of momentum generated, which means you can up it again, which makes it 13.
Yep.
Crikey. It's got piercing on it, so it ignores resistance. So, what did I say it was, sorry?
You said 13 just then.
13! Wow. Okay, which means you knock it all the way down to... Oh, blimey. Well, you've done it again. They've become shaken and breached. Which can't happen because you're using the shield breaker thing. Yeah. But, geez Louise, you knocked them right the heck down. So their ship is shaken, which means they do lose a turn at some point soon. Alright. Wow. Keeping up the pressure. So piercing goes away for now. Attack pattern goes away for now. Nicely done. That was your attack.
Yay.
They've attacked. They have a more difficult time now regenerating their shields, don't they?
I thought it was only if it breached, if it buckled the shields.
If it, yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point, actually.
Or is it because you tried regenerating the shields already this turn, the task becomes harder?
Bit of both, actually, but that's a good point. I've already regenerated the shield once. So what I'm going to do instead is we have to treat the fact that the ship has been shaken, not stirred.
Yeah.
So they are going to have to deal with it this way. So I'm going to spend some threat here. Oh, hi-ya, hi-ya. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Which means the ship is not shaken anymore, so they're taking the shaken condition off of their own ship. That's a lot of ashes to shay in a short space of time. Excuse me while I'm amusing myself.
Oh, silly Borgs.
Right, so that was ops for the Borg trying to make the ship not shaken anymore, so now it's your turn. So who hasn't gone?
Vipers.
Vipers hasn't gone, neither has Nova.
Nova, yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Given we fired the torpedoes and the phasers, I think we're going to need to start modulating the frequencies, because it would be a bad time for the Borg to adapt.
Suddenly adapt, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember also that your ship is currently shaken, which needs to be addressed, because if it is shaken again, if it gains the shaken addition twice, then you automatically suffer a breach. Yeah. So somebody, probably from ops, needs to go and deal with it. The good thing is Vibers can still move between stations however he likes, and you've got 2 ops stations.
Or I can go where... Captain, you're busy. It's amazing how my chair does both. And I could get Nova to handle it, and then Nova can do their own go.
Say that again, but simpler for me,
You
please.
said with direct, I can get someone else to go on my turn with me assisting.
Yeah.
And they can then go twice in the cycle.
Yeah?
So if I use the first officer to pinch command for a second,
Yeah.
I could instruct our gallant ops officer to fix whatever she was already going to fix, and I'll help.
Okay. And then Nova can still take her action
And then you're
as
still free
usual.
to take your own action as well. So
Alright, groovy. So you're spending...
What action is Nova doing?
So...
I guess fixing shields.
Right, so Vibers has to spend a point of momentum to direct somebody else to act.
Done.
Cool. So now essentially you get to aid whatever Nova is going to be, whatever you're directing Nova to do, with 1d20 using your control and command. So what is Vibers instructing Nova to do? Probably deal with the shaken condition or the shields, either of which helps.
Lieutenant Nova, get those shields up.
Okay.
Don't want any Borg on the bridge.
Right, okay.
So I will have Alex can be the Navis to assist. This is going to be assisting with so it's shields. It's structure and I never remember this.
Engineering?
Might well be, but let me check to make absolutely sure. Regen shields is structure and engineering, quite right. So control and engineering from Nova, structure and engineering from the Navis, and of course control and command from Vibers. Ooh, look at these numbers.
So since I'm being directed to do shields first and then sent somewhere else, could I claim a determination from we've done the impossible and that makes us mighty? Basically to say I'm going to do shields, then leave it so I can't do shields next turn. But obviously I'm doing 2 things in this turn, which is beyond normal.
So you're essentially deliberately not taking next turn's go.
She's not going to get back to shields, so yeah, I'll either skip the whole turn or not do anything with shields.
Okay, that's agreeable to me. You get a point of determination from that. Yeah. I will go with that nicely. Thank you. Okay, in that case, it is still down to Nova's control and engineering shields-related role. But both the ship and Commander Vibers have given you a lot to go with, so anything you roll now is bonus. So we get 1. So we needed, I think it was 2. Regen shields is 2, yep. And you got 4 overall, so that's an additional 2 that you could spend on upping the shields by 4 more points. If you're good with that.
That happened on Vibers' go, so you've still got your own turn this round.
Yeah, so let me think. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from Nova's, and 4 extra from those that you spent. So yep, shields is now up to about 75%-ish. And first, the Borg have their go. Oof. We've taken care of Shaken. Really do need to get those shields back. We've already shot them. Let's give it a go.
Can you do shields this turn?
Ooh, that's a good point. You nullified my go, didn't you?
Make me a stinker.
No, it was a smart tactical decision. Yeah, in that case, yeah, the Borg haven't got to go to do anything with, so yeah, all right then, fine. That's what gets missed. All right, nicely done. So now it's Nova's turn to do with whatever she pleases.
Well, I guess it's fixing something to stop the shaking.
So that's going to be another control and engineering type jobby. This will have no assistance from the ship. This is going to be all down to Nova to try and use some power balancing to get some of the ship systems back on track. Difficulty 2, so control and engineering just to try and get things back. I know my ship. Okay, the first bonus d20 is free. And one per mission, you double your focus range. Okay, so remember to check the dedicated focus box as well as your using focus box. And you can use an extra d20 for free. Smart beans, I like it. We got a 20 there. So obviously running around like a blue-arsed fly is having detrimental effect.
So I'll Legion of Honor that one.
Okay.
And I guess I use the determination I had to reroll the result.
Okay. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you can do. So spend that point of spend that determination. Oh, also remember to take note that you used one value to make life difficult for yourself, and that you used the value to spend for determination here.
Yeah.
That is.
Would you like your determination back?
Yeah.
You may spend 3 momentum to enable that character to regain a spent point of determination. All right.
Here you go. Have your determination back.
Okay. I just almost imagined you there, Davis, with your finger on that trigger, ready to go. I can do this. I can do this.
I got preventive power.
You got to use the bad one.
Cool. In which case, what you actually got was 2 successes rather than nought. And you'd used Legion of Honor, but what you were really doing was using Star-Cross to double your focus range, which didn't. So it was 2 overall, so you definitely succeed in making the ship not shaken. So well done on rebalancing the ship's systems. The Borg missed their last turn, which means they take this turn, and my god, okay, you guys are becoming a problem. So we are going to take... I am going to spend threat for this, just to make sure. And watch, it doesn't work. No, it did work. I get 1 back. For a spend of that much, I got 1 back. All right. They release further particles as part of this communications baffling system to basically mess up your sensors. They are creating a trait which prevents you from using scan for weakness. But that's all they can do. That's their turn done. Which means it's your turn done. We move on to turn 7. Now, funnily enough, with your... Actually, as it turns out, with your very aggressive stance there, you actually prevented the Borg from doing what it was they were going to do, which you quite correctly guessed, which was give themselves time to regenerate. So, you did actually... you've changed history again.
We're awesome.
Alright, so during the time that you bought the other cruisers and whatnot, Admiral Hayes has managed to more or less gather the fleet back, kind of, and is now sends an order to the Thunderchild and you guys to re-engage the Borg in order to do what you were doing, which is essentially keep the pressure on them to stop them regenerating, whilst also allowing him to gather up the remaining ships in order to reform and regroup. Now this does mean that with no other ships able to take the brunt of the Borg's attacks, it's going to be pretty much just the Thunderchild and the Navis that are going to be taking the brunt of the Borg's attention during this. So, essentially this means that during the course of this turn, the Thunderchild will take a shellacking as they bear the brunt of the majority. And they're the only mid-tier ship remaining, so they are going to be hammered quite heavily. Now the Oberths are now completely out of the fight, unable to do anything else, so they've withdrawn. The other ships are trying to recombine, so it is up to you guys again. You've got only 2 momentum in the pool this time from various spends. And yeah, you do now have the tactical consideration that your ops officer is going to be missing in action this turn, so bear that in mind.
I was going to say, one of the things we need to do before an attack is, I think we still need to actually recalibrate our weapons.
Plus, if you want to be able to get past the Borg's resistance, which is considerable, you're going to need to find some way to cancel out that sensor baffling trait they've put in place.
Yeah.
So, plenty to think about. Which starts with the captain. Assuming, of course, Webby is still here.
Trying to think now what would we do.
If you want to cancel out their trait, you essentially can try and create your own traits to negate it and cancel it out. Anybody can attempt that, of course, not just the captain, if they wish to. Obviously, it makes more sense to save your helm and tactical officers for their very needed job. If you are going to try and get past the scan for weakness, then you need to hold on to Ori in order to be able to actually scan for weakness. So it seems like really the onus is on the CO and the XO as to what to do next.
What we're gonna do, Vibers? Rock, paper, scissors.
Lizard Spock.
Zoom running away and cackling madly as we go and move to Federation capital. The trill is off the
table, yeah. I mean, it would create an incredible clash of values for Andrews at the very least, including pretty much they might well be mutiny on the ship, I would think, if you tried that. But what do I know?
You never know with us. Right, okay, what can we do? We need some sort of advantage.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, or just break the disadvantage. So it would be along the lines of what would work for it well. Kef, Ram. No, but sort of like something like a probe. Like, could we do like a probe barrage, or just drop a bunch of probes as mines, so then have it as that they're doing sub-level scanning and we're just picking up the signals?
Why don't we go for something slightly more old-fashioned then?
Go on.
We've got the Bifrost drive. why don't we do some triangulation with our own drive
Didn't we do that
and
last
jump
time?
us?
Weren't we ordered not to use the Bifrost?
Yeah, we were
Drive
ordered.
to
Yeah,
expand the-
Navis wasn't here
Okay.
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that
why
was.
I
we're
didn't
under
know.
explicit orders to keep the Bifrost drive powered down.
Something about please don't give that to the Borg, you crazy people.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And the Borg have already investigated it once, so it does seem to be.
We can't risk losing our shields then. Sounds like we need some evasive maneuvers if we can't think of anything else.
Well, let's say breaking that sensor baffling is currently particles. Could we just running? If we could it be something on opening the Brassard collector to dump a load of hydrogen into
If
the
that's what you
atmosphere? To
think.
see if that can be so that we're now just oversaturating.
Sure. Sure. Someone still needs to give me a task roll in order to actually get that to work, but if you want to use that as your means of trying to get over the sensor baffling, then yeah, works for me. Sounds like a control and engineering type job, which may very well be up
Oh,
Vibers' alley.
How are they How are they doing the sensor baffling?
They are riding off of the... they're essentially saturating the area with all these baffling particles.
Right.
So they're basically bouncing signals all around the place.
What do you feel like doing a bit of leaf blowing?
Everyone just go up to a window and blow out
No,
of it
it's-
really hard.
right.
Right, I see.
Rather than using the Brassard collector to drop more things out, why don't we use a deflector? Right? Whatever the actual name for that thing is.
I think you're right.
There's a deflector array.
So we use a deflector array and just sweep a couple of good routes over it, and then the other ships have got a clean attack path they can see through.
Yeah.
Sure. Alright, still sounds like a control and engineering job, so... Vibers, have at it.
Okay.
Any foci you may have that apply here, do you think?
Shipboard tactical systems?
I'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And
This is going to be control and engineering difficulty 2.
yes. I'm just trying to think, is this worth a...
Yep, is this worth
No,
using a
probably
talent or an
not.
award or something that you've got to...
I
Help.
will throw in one of them.
Starcross, double your focus range, very good.
So focus, double focus, and go.
Alright, that was good. That was so as a result of using the doubled focus, it goes from 2 to 3, which means you do gain a momentum back in the pool from that, which means you essentially cancel out their sensor baffling. Nice. Alright, which means they get to go next. Well, yeah, tricksy little hobbitses. We're going to need to do something in regards to this, aren't we? Let's start off with... right, the ship is no longer shaken. Shields are quite far down, but do we dare do that first? Because really, it's just there's just these two ships now, and this one's very interesting. Let's scan for weakness. Run to weakness. Do I? Yes, I think I should. Spend threat here. Just about, which means sensors and security may or may not get me extra. They do. Cool. Bodoik, which means they have managed to scan your ship for a weakness, which means their weapons have piercing. Your turn. Alright, so Vibers has gone in order to create or disable a trait of theirs. Who wants to go next? Did I hear you were thinking about evasive maneuvers rather than attack pattern, or have we changed our minds? I mean, Alex is technically being your helm officer at the moment, so...
I'm happy to go with the consensus, but given that we actually have a chance of... given we're using a different method, there's actually more point to evasion because there's actually a chance it will matter. I'd say, but it all depends on crew. I am happy to follow the general tactic that people have been developing.
Not to mention, it was actually, I just forgot, it was pointed out quite rightly by Gareth, I do believe, and maybe Webby as well, that weapons might need remodulating.
Yep.
Yeah, the Thunderchild hasn't yet fired directly on.
Yeah, the Thunderchild won't actively be attacking, it'll be attacking on its vector, so it'll be doing its own damage, but whilst taking damage too, so... This is just you and the Borg.
I still think then, yeah, is that if we use evasive, we can continue to fire. It may not be as effective because they'll adapt, but it gives us the chance to kind of flank and draw fire again.
Okay. So
they seem to be having a lot. They seem to be getting annoyed with us. Well, the Borg don't get annoyed. You know, they are perfection.
The dice tell a different story. There's just one Borg. The Queen is in the middle of the Borg cube going, "Grrr! Why so annoying?" We really imagine Alice Krieger doing that, though. She was so good.
I don't know. I'm now imagining the Borg Queen in a chair, looking on the view screen of the Navis, and just yelling, "Stop it! Stop not dying!"
I'm waiting for Locutus. You're ruining my moment.
Frakes is throwing looks at me. You guys aren't following the script. Now I'm going meta.
You can't defeat me till, Locutus gets here. And just goes, "Sorry, but I'm afraid the Navis' new prerogative, Operation Cockblock, is in charge."
Yeah, I gotta show up my busy mate at some point.
You're right, fine. I'll give you him. You just put on a Picard mask and go, "Fine."
On screen, and it's just Andrew sat there with a paper cut-out mask.
This may not be the spiffins. Can we use the holographic torpedoes to send an army of Locutuses into a chamber to reject her?
Go kill her confidence, that's right. Yeah.
We beat the Borg with psychological warfare.
And moss. Psychological warfare and moss lectures.
Well, you're just going to send an infinite Bertrams in and goes, "Hello, Borg Queen. Moss is a fire electrical."
Nice. And that's actually, rather than that whole scene at the end where all the Borg are just crying out in pain because the Queen they're feeling the death throes of the Queen. That's actually what's going on as they're just listening to the Moss lecture. Ah! As their brains all explode. Any hoops. Next action then from you guys is, I mean, you've still got Andrews who can set up either more momentum or a trait, or you can do what you were going to do, which is declare that you're using an evasive pattern for your helmsman. Or any other things you can think of.
I won't act. I will act on the direct to use my Christopher Pike medal.
Oh, okay then. In which case we'll just go... I'll assume then that we are just making our helmsman declare that you're doing evasive.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright then. Ooh, now you're trying to make hitting you that much harder.
I do find it funny though that the Admiral's pulled the entire fleet back and he's like ordered 2 ships. Go and have a bash at that cube. Like the entire fleet's been struggling, and he's just like, "Nah, go on, guys."
It's the sort of like the ship level of standard Starfleet protocol. You send in the main character in a red shirt to die to sell the enemy's strength, so that we can then come in and be more impressive when we beat them. So yeah, basically we're sending in the Navis and the USS red shirt.
I thought we were involved because Andrews and this admiral don't get along very well, and it's if the Borg killed them, I don't have to deal with them in the next staff meeting.
I mean, I only disobeyed one order in this, and that saved the Bozeman.
Ooh, I'm actually having
We
a
were
tough time
supposed to save
deciding.
Bozeman?
I'm just saying, I'm
Oh,
having a
God.
tough time deciding.
What Davis just followed up with as well.
You have to save the Bozeman?
I mean, Kelsey Grammer's on the Bozeman. You have to save it, otherwise we get no more... Wait a minute. I don't want any more Frasier. Oh, okay. Feel free, leave him alone. It's fine. And Kelsey, you're too old to play Hank McCoy. Let someone else do it. You don't want to wear the furry suit anyway. Trust me.
Besides, all you do is remind us of X-Men 3, and no one wants that.
Yeah. Ugh.
Rage Men, wrong class.
First class I quite liked, actually.
Rage Men, wrong class.
But, nevertheless, yes, once again, they can't seem to tell a decent X-Men story. Anywhoops, I am going to make the possibly silly decision, because the Borg are very much up their own backsides about themselves. So they are going to go with, we are superior, therefore are going to opt for an attack pattern rather than an evasive. The opposite of what you guys are doing. So one of you gets to go next, so... I suppose you should really get Ori on that scanning for weakness. So since Sean is missing Nova's turn, we may as well get Sean on the Ori again.
The Ori Express.
The Ori Express. And since I mean, who hasn't rolled in a little bit? Alex, you may as well be the Navis. I mean, you are going to get to roll as Helm Officer in a bit, but...
What are they again? Sensors and...
Sensors and security, although Ori is having a tough time, it seems. Unless you roll a 1. Well, it was close to a 1, but unfortunately not what we wanted. Alright. Ori fails to find a weakness in their current thing. Unless, of course, you want to spend Ori's 1 determination to re-roll that.
I would
think
be
it might worth it at
tempted.
this point.
So that's 2 for a yes. What about the rest of you?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Sean, spend that determination. Let's see, what one will he use? Nothing is beyond repair. Helping hand, more like helping hand. And I will make a note of that for Mike's benefit. So where are we?
So if he fails, that would technically be a challenge against him, because he's failed to be able to actually be that helping hand when we needed it.
It's not challenging a value, he's just trying to do something as a result of the value.
No, I was just putting out, would a failure, well, I was asking, would a failure count as a challenge?
A complication might, maybe, but when things come into conflict with values and therefore challenge values, it's more a...
Well, I decide not to, rather than...
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of thing. Where are we? We are episode
Bertram.
46.
Going while he wasn't here.
Excuse me while I write up. This is the Borg. Right. Here we go, Mike. Done that for you. Right, so we had 1 success. 2 successes in total, which was on the money of what we needed. Thank goodness. Okay. Alright, so now it's their turn. They've got their piercing, they've got their attack pattern. You are using evasive maneuvers. But they have to consider now that if they don't get a shot off now, they might not get one at all if you make things difficult for them. So they are going to make their attack, which means that this attack, rather than being a difficulty 2, the difficulty of this attack is going to be determined by the Helm Officer. So, no problem, Sean. What we need, therefore, from Alex is evasive action. So, and I'm going to ask for Webby to be the Navis. We're going to need daring and con from our Helm Officer, assisted by the Navis's structure and con. To determine how difficult it is for the Borg to actually hit your ship.
I'd like to say challenge accepted. Would that be a reason?
Ooh, hello! If you want to throw determination in and use his value of challenge accepted, then by all means do so.
Or should we save it? I'm looking at Webby as I know he's thinking about the long game here.
I'd potentially save it, just so we've got it for that one Hail Mary if we need it. But it doesn't really matter at this moment in time. It could be
4
used to make sure.
successes in total. Right, that is what they need to get over. That is some serious evasion. Now, the good thing is that Thazanan has got the talent of precise evasion, which means the ship that Claught's attack does not suffer any difficulty, any raise in difficulty as a result of these evasive actions. So, precise evasion as he basically swings the thing into a very sharp evasive turn to get away from the Borg's targeting sensors. So very good, very good, very good. 4 successes, my god. Which means that the Borg need to use control and security, and you know what? I am going to have to go with 1, 2, 3. To add 2 dice for this, because you little perishers...
Oh shit.
Oh, it's all down to the ship. It's all down to the ship. Do I throw more? I can't throw more on the ship. The ship can't do it. The ship can't throw more on. Is it? It's not! Oh, that was close!
For the first time in possibly years, Thazanan is actually challenged.
For like half a second, and then he's just like, "Oh, sorry, I'll have to use both hands on the controls then."
So it goes, "Oh God, they're almost hitting us. I suppose I better take this blindfold off."
No, you got it wrong. It's like, fine, someone please untie me. I'll stop trying to steer by antenna.
Meanwhile, on the Borg, it goes, the Navis's Helm Officer sent us a message we cannot crack, my queen. It says, "What you don't know is that I am not left-handed."
Alright, I applaud that. That one's awesome.
And a tactical one sent today. I prepared exploding runes, but
No, the say is what you didn't know is I am Cabal the Hatsuna.
Because that missed by 1 success, there was all of 1. I'm going to say that was possibly one of the closest near misses that there has been in probably Starfleet history. So the ship got a minor rumble as the graviton torpedo kind of like spewed out and just barely missed. So yeah, everyone had to literally hold on to their seats or their consoles as the inertial dampeners had a bit of a time holding on there, but wow.
Or at the last second, Cabal just opens the bridge view screen and just pushes the torpedo with his hand, or just a little finger just pushes it upwards so it misses the bridge by microns.
No. What actually happens is that Cabal, while piloted, also remote controls our runabout, and they intercept all of the graviton torpedoes with micro torpedoes.
Wow, that was pretty intense. Nicely done. So that leaves you guys to do your next turn. And I believe the captain was going to direct.
We haven't reconfigured the weapons yet, though.
Good point.
We were going to do that at the end of the turn. I think that was Davis's. Or whichever.
No, Davis is gone.
Davis gone? Yeah.
And Nova can't go.
Yeah.
So it would be the start of the next round is that we do the ops positions. This one was going to be firing to draw fire out off of the Thunder Child.
If that's what you want to do. Then I believe a momentum needs to be spent in order for a command individual to direct somebody to go. Which means when you direct, you may treat your d20 as if it had rolled a 1, so Claude automatically gets 2 successes to the attack that he gets to make.
Okay. I'm assuming phases, given we're trying to divert attention, and also try and actually wear down their shields for maybe the Thunder Child to catch them vulnerably. So in that case, shield breaker.
Cool. Nice. Alright then.
Yep. So
let's have Davis be the Navis.
The USS Davis.
Yes, indeedy.
Am I
So
just rolling the 1 die?
no, actually good point. Roll 1 die, click that you're using determination, because that's essentially what's happened here, is that you've automatically rolled a 1.
Okay, what's the Navis rolling?
Weapons and security, please.
3 successes.
So you've already succeeded by 1.
Yeah.
And the Navis gives you 1 extra, which means you needed 2, you got 4. So you can either bank those 2, because the phasers automatically give you 2.
Are we still?
Or are you spending it all?
I don't know. Do we bank 1? So we've got 3 momentum.
Thing is, though, if you... it's 2 momentum to up the damage by 1.
Yeah. Yeah, let's suspend it. I think, like I say, let's just keep them off balance.
Yeah.
Keep it all in. All right.
Yeah.
So,
all in.
Davis, give me the damage rating for... show us the damage rating for phaser array, please. So you automatically gain 2 momentum from the versatile 2, which you can automatically spend on raising the damage by 1, but you've also spent the 2 momentum you got over that to roll it by a phaser, so it's 11. You are ignoring their resistance, which means that it goes straight to shields, and you are using shield breaker, which increases the intensity again. So it was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Have I got that right? Yes.
Yep.
13 against their shields completely removes their shields. They cannot suffer a breach, but it does mean that any further attempts to regen shields are made that much more difficult. So yeah, we are. Your merciless bombardment of their shields actually sets them up for your next attack. Because that was the captain directing Claude to make this attack, and so Claude can take his own next attack after the Borg have theirs. And the Borg, well, surprise, surprise. What's the Borg's next attempt? They've already attacked you, so they are going to attempt to repair shields, but this is going to be more difficult for them. So that means that regenerate shields goes from difficulty 2 to difficulty 3. Ouchies. Control engineering. Does the ship help at all? Yes, structure and engineering. So once again, I'm going to have to spend threat here. But I'm starting to run out of threat, so I am just going to take it with... actually, no. No. You must die! Sorry. Actually, no, it's a complete lie. I am not sorry. But you are forcing me to spend. Right, so, structure and engineering, I think it was? A success. So I got 6 in all. What I needed was 3, so I got 3 over. So, you neppy bastards have cost me all those shields, which means I have to do 3. And rather than put more back in threat, I'm going to have to spend it on trying to keep these shields up. Really hurting me here. Okay, your guy's turn, which is basically going to be Claude. His actual go.
Should I try taking those shields down again, Captain?
Yeah, let's just
By
keep
all means.
hammering on them.
Okay. Trying to drain those fins again. So
Still using shield breaker, okay.
Yep.
Set them up, knock
At
them
this
down.
point, it seems to be we're essentially messing with their shields. Seems to be a war of attrition that we are actually not doing too badly in.
We're just going to turn around to the Admiral like, are you going to actually support us, or are we going to do this on our own? You know?
I mean,
Hi, guys!
yeah, because it's like, I mean, we don't mind carrying the entire Federation. Okay.
Okay.
So, 3 successes.
Alright then. Can I have... I mean, who hasn't... Webby, do you want to do the Navis this time?
Yeah, you're offering.
Cool. Weapons and security.
Weapons and security. 1 die. Roll to die.
Wapoosh. 4 successes, you needed 2. So you get 2 over, so same again. Essentially, do you want to bank those 2 that you've just earned, or do you want to throw them all into... Throw them all in. Which means
We want them
it's
to avoid
essentially
really
the
hard-
same as last time. Which was, what did I say it was? 13?
Yep.
Which means you completely knock down their shields again.
We want them to have worked really hard on those shields, so it hurts more when we take them away again.
Yeah, you have absolutely pummeled the unholy hell out of their shields this round. So yeah, well done, well done. Right, so essentially your ops officer loses their turn because of gaining determination last turn, which means essentially the Borg also lose theirs, but because your tactical officer just went, they do get to go again now. You have now made regaining shields even harder again.
just like, why? We didn't even remodulate the weapons and punch through. We're obviously hitting them too quick for them to adapt. It's just like, keep going.
I think we've identified their strategy. Their strategy was to
Ooh,
basically...
I failed that.
defenses.
Yeah, the Borg attempt using some kind of focused polaron beam to get a more definitive fix on the Navis's location, but failed to do so. So that is that turnover. Good God. Alright.
This is what happens when you get a ship that has actually been on the frontiers in the fight.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Alright then, how much time do we have? Okay, cool. So, Admiral Hayes now returns with the remnants of the fleet and orders a cautious re-engagement, but basically to inflict as much damage as you possibly can. So
Admiral's useless. He's like, oh look, the shield's down. We will attack cautiously because we don't want to inflict too much damage. Like, come on, man.
I mean, to be honest, at this point, I'm surprised you haven't just started teleporting torpedoes directly into the cube itself.
Now that the shields are down, we can.
bearing in
That's what I'm
mind,
saying.
this is the shields on the specific section of the
Yes.
Borg ship that you have been allocated to take
And-
out, so yeah.
For transporter, we would have to drop our own shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we could encourage the Admiral by transforming our phasers into a paint gun and literally putting a target on the Borg ship as a subtle hint that he can pummel it now.
But what
See, our communications are down.
what actually happens, as well as the remnants of the fleet now come back, so you've essentially got the Madison, the Endeavour, the Jaeger, the Defiant, and the Appalachia all come back in a surge. and Admiral Hayes orders the fleet to basically engage, inflict as much damage as you possibly physically can, which means that you guys now gain the trait Withering Fire, which will give you an additional, which will basically upgrade the damage of your weapons as the fleet just comes in with everything it's got. Sadly, however, the Borg start using that active Polaron scan it was using on yourselves, and starts to scan around the fleet and locks onto the Madison and the Endeavour as identifying them as the command ships, and basically starts bombing them with most of their firepower. So the Admiral's ship particularly takes a really heavy pounding. But nonetheless, you guys are now under the advantage Withering Fire. So let's see how much we can do with the entire fleet behind you. So, seconds away, round next. Off you go. One of you goes first.
Alright, I think we need to get the weapons recount, don't we?
Yeah.
Thank
Do we
you,
want to go
Navis.
on the attack vector?
I mean, Alex makes a good point.
You said it yourself.
So,
Throw it all in for an all-out attack, so go for an attack run.
yep.
Alright, I will consider that as the Helm Officer declaring that you are going to all-out attack, which gives the Borg something, which means... what do the Borg do?
Take out the Madison. They were doing the Federation a favour. This Admiral is useless.
Ooh.
Insta Defiant.
Oh, I just realised Worf's in this fight, isn't he? Because he's
Yes,
captain
he
of
is. He's on the
Defiant.
Defiant.
He's supposed to be partially destroyed, so we're just ramming speed. If that doesn't happen, the Enterprise ain't showing up.
Yeah.
Put in a representation of what the Admiral's plan is.
Gotcha.
Withering attack. Oh my god.
I think I got Webby with that one.
It's beautiful. It's a mix of two of my favourite things. It's really...
There was a Star Trek Minecraft amalgamation there. A hideous amalgamation. For those of you
Finally.
wondering what all that was about.
My
Yep.
pet, my pet Wither, Ensign
Oh no,
Rainbow
not
Blight will have
again.
its day.
Not again!
We all loved Rainbow Blight.
No!
So,
The lag when you got near it was bad enough.
the Borg have had their turn and used it to create a trait. The Navis are now that it is using its active Polaron scans, and you were in the same layer as the Madison and the Lexington. No, the Lexington's already down. The Endeavour. It is going to make you easier to hit. So, who of you wants to go next?
Have we recalibrated the weapons yet?
No, you haven't.
Right, we really need to do that.
Yep.
So
Can we
somebody.
recalibrate quantum torpedoes? Because if we could
Yep.
recalibrate them and then fire the torpedoes while their fins are down, I think that's our best chance of doing massive damage.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody, either the captain or your current comms officer, the XO, is going to have to create a trait to represent you recalibrating your weapons. So who's going to do it? Otherwise, I'm just going to have to name. One Mississippi, two Mississippi.
I've used my, so I'm happy to use my. I've used my actual one submission medal. so I can't create anything else.
I think Thazan's usually appears.
Yes, Thazanan has declared attack run, so... So if Andrews has used a once a mission thing to do the direct, then, Andrews can declare, recalibrate weapons.
Yeah, I'm just reading through which mission. The character creates a trait that reflects or yeah, if I do trait then, and I will use that one.
Grand Kai Order of Tactics, when you create a trait that reflects, you may automatically add a level of potency to that trait. Nice. In that case, I will say that... Because essentially you're recalibrating weapons twice? So it lasts not just this turn, but next turn as well.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Cool. I will go with that, absolutely. Right, it is their turn.
Don't I need to roll for it, though?
Yes, good point. So it is going to be... what was it? Control and command, wasn't it? So, or whichever one you fancy doing, as it turns out, yeah. 2 successes on the money. Got it. So there you go. Recalibrate weapons. Quantum torpedoes have been recalibrated. Very nice. Alright, so now it is their turn. Oh, well, there's one thing they definitely need to do. And that
they don't need shields.
Do it now.
We'll knock the shields down again. Take the hint, just don't bother with your shields.
White.
Well, hopefully we'll have some difficulty because it'll be more difficult this time.
Yeah. We just keep blowing up shield emitters. That's all we've been targeting the entire time. It's just their shield emitters.
Well, if it works.
Yep.
4 when I only needed 2, which means I regain 2 points of threat, and they have scanned you for weaknesses. You guys, your turn.
Right, their shields are down. I think we just all out fire.
You haven't done piercing yet, so your weapons will
But they are.
Not ignore the ship's resistance.
Yeah.
So, if anything, you're going to need Ori to go again before you do that. Unless you just want to fire and see how well you do against the ship's superstructure. Up to you. I'm not poo-pooing it, I'm just saying.
No, I want to see what they have calibration, high yield, and intense on a quantum.
Yes, so calibration means that your tactical officer needs to spend a minor action to calibrate them first before using the major action to fire.
Yeah.
Intense, intense and high yield. High yield. Where is it? Weapon qualities. High yield means that if they do cause a breach, they will cause a second breach. And intense means that you can increase the damage by 1 when you spend 1 momentum rather than 2.
If we have piercing, then when we use the salvo devastating attacks version, the second one that's half damage is more likely to cause
a breach.
Big
as well.
breach.
Yeah, do it.
So it sounds like it's going to be a job for Ori, Sean.
Yep.
Can I get Navis to be the Navis once again and be sensors and security? Looking good. Oh, heck beans. That's a thought. Right.
Sean's there. Okay.
Yeah, Sean's about. I can see his cursor moving about. He's doing it. He's looking.
I've
He's
been
looking.
reading his medals.
Yeah. Ori doesn't have quite as many medals as you guys, so.
Yeah, he's not gym leader.
Nope.
He's not mastered the Pokemon League yet.
No.
Sadly not.
He's collecting the STIs first. I mean, what?
STIs? All right. Yes.
No.
Sorry. STI, STD. Yep.
You got told STC and you made a typo.
It's his big Petri experiment.
Alright, not only did he succeed, because of the Withering Fire you've been devastating their shields with, you've managed to find a weakness and gain you bonus momentum. Nicely done, Sean. And
Is
of course,
there
Navis.
weakness Aurai's hot tub?
Let's find out! Load it into the torpedo bay! Last thing they'd be expecting.
The Borg have not adapted to that.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, biological warfare on the Borg.
Alright, so that was you guys, now it's these guys. They've made you easier to hit. They have no reason to suspect your weapons have been recalibrated. They know you're coming in on an attack vector. But we are the Borg, and therefore extremely arrogant and self-assured. So... yeah, we're just going to declare the usual here.
See, this is why we need railguns in the Federation.
Well-
Well, this is exactly it. This is how Picard kills the drones in sort of like in First Contact, where he uses the holographic
Bullets.
Tommy gun. Yeah, and there's no way that they can react to it and build a resistance because you're firing a high velocity round of lead at them.
Well, holographic lead.
Well, yeah, but it's got the safeties off, so that's why it hits. You know.
Well,
he just
Why shields work?
They
Yes.
won't work against high velocity rounds, though.
I'll tell you what. I think we
That
know
was
what.
the theory behind why you needed shields to stop torpedoes, and yeah.
well, yeah. There are ways and means either way. You know, space magic. But nevertheless, the Borg have declared their turn, their action. So, yeah, go with yours. Your next one. I think.
We're up to firing now, aren't we?
I think you're up to firing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll put this up there.
Full spread, which means I get 3 threat.
Then. Well,
So are we firing at critical systems, or are we just doing the usual pick something random in the middle of nowhere and shoot at that?
that's the thing. The Borg design is so modular. It's difficult. From what I remember, it's difficult to.
Can't actually aim for a department. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
You
we
just aim. You just aim at the superstructure.
Yeah,
Plus
but we don't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
no.
hello.
That's not what I want to see at this critical.
No, you
point.
don't. You can't be doing that. That's not allowed on my bridge.
I couldn't say because I've used mine, so.
All right,
Not
so
time for-
Alex, can we have you as the Navis, please? Weapons and security. And let's not also. Actually, no, Alex, you are being the help officer. Pardon me. You are assisting with control and comms. So can I instead get? Sean, you haven't got to do anything shoot bang fire with the Navis. Here we are. Oh, look at those! So Caval comes to the rescue yet again. Just as well, because the Navis sure as hell doesn't. Okay. That was a narrow one,
Hey,
though.
you leave the girl out of this. She has been fighting well above her
14.
belt level.
She has, and it was a 16 and it was a 14 and under needed, so that wasn't actually that big a miss. I do apologise for that outburst. 1 success, 3 successes in total, which means you got 1 over what was needed, but you are using torpedoes, which means that you can spend 1 on increasing damage by 1. So, what was it again? So, as well as getting 1 extra. So, Sean, give us the thing for quantum torpedoes, please. So essentially, you unload another ferocious flurry of quantum torpedoes at the Borg. So, Salvo usually gets us 1 additional point of damage, which brings us up to 9, but full spread allows us to attack twice without spending momentum. But you also got an extra point of momentum over and above what was needed, so you can always spend that on additional damage, or you can bank it.
Damage.
Do we want to spend any from our momentum pool to increase that damage as well?
It's now up to 10.
Yeah, let's spend 2 more.
Yeah, to make it a 12.
Alright, knock off the momentum then, please. Nice. Okay, so that is 8, 9, 10 to 12 now, yes?
Yep.
Excellent. So, an insane flurry of shots go out, and you have gone to the trouble of recalibrating your weapons, which means they all go through. So, good gods almighty. Which means that that no longer applies. That no longer applies, so that means you did a staggering 13 reaches with additionals, so crikey day.
Does that include like the salvo and devastating stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. This is
Excellent.
untold numbers of damage. All right. Okay. All right. The following unfolds. All right. So this was a devastating flurry of attacks. And you pour fire just with everyone else into the Borg ship, and it just devastates the Borg with everyone just throwing everything they've got. So, essentially this swarm tactic heavily damages the Borg a lot faster than they can regenerate, and all of a sudden, with all of this incredible fire pouring into it, the Borg ship just switches off. It deactivates. And when it does so, there's a moment of, oh my god, it worked! From pretty much the entire fleet. But, just as you're about to come about on, basically to come around to finish them off, and I've forgotten the actual word. The whole collection of ships is...
Armada?
Fleet, thank you. And an armada, that works just as well. The word just shot out of my brain then and wouldn't come back. Whee! The whole fleet is there now, looking like they're about to gather to try and finish the Borg off, with so much damage having been done to them, and the fact that it's just powered off. But then Admiral Hayes sent a communication out to the entire fleet. He believes that the Borg ship is now vulnerable, and so he orders the fleet to close to transporter range.
What the?
What?
What is wrong with this man? What is wrong with him?
So, I mean, at this point, go on, Sean. What was that?
Transporters are offline, right?
Secretly a Borg.
Yeah,
He's secretly a Borg.
yeah, definitely.
It's a changeling and they want to get the Borg secrets for themselves.
Well, who knows? But nevertheless, yes, as you can imagine, there's a bit of an outcry. But the Admiral believes this is an opportunity the Starfleet will never have again, which essentially means that... Thank you, Sean. That this is time to maybe get inside of the Borg ship, scan their systems, as well as do some actual damage by ripping out power conduits and their power waveguide conduits and whatever else.
Can
Go on.
Can I note in the logs that this is, well, actually on a public open channel, so this is dangerous, and I want it documenting that I outright
Defy orders?
yeah, no, I'm not defying the order.
Object.
I am
Objecting to
outrightly objecting to the order.
Okay. For whatever reason, Admiral Hayes decides to go ahead with his let's use the loose word plan, in air quotes.
Stupidity. He's sat on the bridge just snorting something, isn't he? You're like, yeah.
To be fair, ripping up components by hand is going to do much more damage than those puny, weak little quantum torpedoes.
Yeah, you know.
Just
And
whip
so-
around a hammer, just to wrench.
And
Did
so
you learn his tactics against the Romulans or something?
the fleet starts to move in within transporter range. Many begrudgingly.
Yeah, I definitely think the Navis is one of the last ones.
So you're
moving
deliberately
in.
holding back, staying back.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to get reprimanded for disobeying orders.
Interesting. As a result of your action, then, I'm going to say that Nova claps her hands again and then goes, right, I'm in on this one.
Yeah, Nova's already on board.
I just imagine Andrews hits a button on his command chair and Nova's stationist suddenly seals her in a force field.
Wait, no, stuff I need to see. Because you know she totally would. As a result of your, not outright defiance, but your objection, reservation, the Defiant decides to hold back as well, as does the Thunderchild.
Hey,
Which means,
I like the Thunderchild captain.
Yeah, these guys deliberately hang back. You kind of, quiet message to Lachude to start a transporter diagnostic. Nice. Right you are, Commander. So there's almost like, I can imagine a quiet word, like a coded communication goes between the Defiant, the Thunderchild, and the Navis of hold off on turning your shields off until the last possible moment and get ready to power them on at a moment's notice. Which is easier for the Navis, of course, because we've got the shields up command wired into Andrews' brain. Nevertheless, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, the cube reactivates as the ships lower their shields, which seizes Admiral Hayes' ship and a number of others. What was it? So Admiral Hayes originally ordered prepare security teams for infiltrating the vessel, intent on capturing any Borg data stores as possible and remove every piece of important-looking equipment that can be found. The Borg reactivate and captures the Madison and the Jaeger, destroying them both. So the Madison, the flagship of the Admiral, and we lose the Jaeger as well, which is down here, one of the ships that decided to go along with this insanity.
These
And the
ships
Admiral's
actually
ship is
die
destroyed.
in history.
Yes, they did.
With the rapid response shield system on your ship and the fact that you encouraged others, you and the Thunderchild and the Defiant, and pretty much the Endeavour, as well as the Appalachia, are hanging on as the Borg reactivate, which essentially throws the whole coherency that was there under Admiral Hayes for a loop a bit. But thanks to you guys objecting, the Thunderchild, the Navis, and the Defiant are the first to basically throw their shields up and throw themselves into the fight as quickly and as mercilessly as possible. Which then successfully allows you guys to re-engage with everything you have, and at this point you get a reading from the Defiant that they're running out, if not completely out, of quantum torpedoes. Likewise, the Thunderchild's own supply of quantum torpedoes is out, so they're switching to photons. And it as this is pretty much the last stand of the fleet as they look to do as much damage to the Borg ship as they possibly can. And as you guys are engaging them with your full arsenal of weapons and trying to keep the heat off the Thunderchild and the Defiant as much as you possibly can, and because you've enjoyed so much success, I am going to definitely say that the Defiant doesn't get messed up nearly as much as it did in the original timeline.
Yay!
Now, Worf will still obviously have to find himself on board the Enterprise when it arrives, and it arrives momentarily.
Ah, it's the USS Killsteel.
Pretty much. But
Captain,
what you
we
get...
are down to our last 5 quantum torpedoes in the primary rack.
Quick, fire the holographic torpedoes. Make them take on the holographic virtual form of quantum
What was
torpedoes.
the joke before? You were putting them in like the crew quarters, just like
Yeah. We're now breaking. We're now.
Rack. We're
Yeah.
now having to load from the secondary, the tertiary, the quaternary, the quinternary.
like floors,
Captain, we have gone into your we've gone into your cabin and we've got out the second batch of quantum.
Say the residential decks 3 through 5. Look under your beds. Pull out the...
Please take out your under-the-bed torpedo.
I think the Admiral's boneheaded decision has pissed off Andrew so much. He says, Vibers, get the special batch torpedoes that you be keeping in the port nacelle.
Yes, Captain. Night shift. Your job is to load the primary torpedo rack from all the spares.
Nice.
Oh my god, this Admiral's an idiot. I want it fully documented. I am calling him an idiot.
Well, you know, it's not like he's around to argue anymore.
Yeah. Oh no, what a check.
So,
Is this like Dead Man's Boots?
well, the Borg ship loses its ability to regenerate from the sheer amount of damage that your ships inflict upon it, and it goes through a sudden power surge, as it seems to your sensors to be throwing additional power into its weapon systems, building up for one last attack. And that is when your buddy, Captain Andrews' bud, the BFF, the Enterprise E turns up and allows the Thunderchild and the Navis to be the ones to launch all their remaining torpedoes to try and break the skin of the tube. Cube? It's turned into a tube now.
Well, it has now.
You've messed up the timeline so much, it's gone from a cube to like a cube.
Yeah, we dented it that much.
You've made it rounded.
Now we got communications back. Someone sent a message to the Copernicus to stop hanging back, damn it.
Yeah, we need the superb glasses.
And so we come to pretty much how the battle for Sector 001 finished. The events detailed in the battle play out exactly, well, not exactly as they did. Obviously, you changed a couple of things here and there, which meant that overall there were slightly different outcomes. But yes, Admiral Hayes' battle plan, again, if it can be called such, had one very big glaring flaw, which we can all pretty much identify from the fact that...
Admiral Hayes?
Admiral Hayes, yes.
You know the concept of demoted upwards to get them out of the
Well,
sort of like effective working position. Is that what happened to Hayes?
It sounds like it, doesn't it? Is that they promoted him to the point of least resistance?
well, bearing in
should have been
mind, the
promoted once
first
more
thing
so he
he
had a
did...
desk.
If you remember, the first thing Admiral Hayes actually did was to tell Jean-Luc Picard not to turn up with the Enterprise
because
to the
of the
Battle of
fear
Sector 001 because of the fear he might
Yeah.
freeze.
Yeah. But it's like, we sent our most powerful combat ship to the outreaches.
No, the Navis was here.
Yeah, okay, right. In canon.
We sent the flagship, which is basically a figurehead.
Yeah, it's just a figurehead ship. It's not that important.
So, the Enterprise E turns up, starts to protect other smaller ships from receiving too much damage. The Defiant, unfortunately, gets caught, but the ship is towed rather than just left, so that the crew can be rescued easily, if the ship can be easily remade later. So
We can tow it for salvage.
but for the moment, the Enterprise comes in and beams beams most of the folks from the Defiant away, because the ship has at least been shut down rather than badly damaged, which was what happened in the original timeline. So eventually the turning point happens where you do break the skin of the ship with the fusillade that you are beating the Borg ship with. Captain Picard gives the order to fire on a specific section of the Borg ship. So your ship, the Navis, and the Thunderchild all hammer the outer skin of the ship, which allows the Appalachia to use... what was their weapon? There is a specific weapon they use to destroy it. So the Thunderchild and the Navis use their torpedoes to break the outer skin of the tube. The Budapest? Is that around?
Nope.
Where's the Budapest? It had to be the Appalachia, pardon me.
Slightly dead Norway class.
Yeah.
So the Appalachia uses their lance phaser to bore it further into the structure, which exposes its inner workings, which allows quantum torpedoes to be fired into the breach, which means both the Navis and the Enterprise in this timeline, in order to destroy the cube. The cube launches a sphere, which the Enterprise goes off in pursuit of. Meanwhile, just as the Enterprise veers away and you guys are wondering what to do next, as you've all run your ships away from the blast radius of the Borg cube, which means that you guys actually have the opportunity to rescue at least one ship.
Yeah, guessing which one it's not going to be.
Thunderchild, we know, makes it out.
We'll rescue the Endeavour or the Lexington. Definitely not the Madison. He deserves it.
Rescue the
Which one's the
Endeavour.
Madison?
Even though the Madison's got the most people on board, he deserves it. Oh, alright.
Is that Hayes' one? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all in all, you...
Actually, that's Webby being Webby, though. No, Andrews would go after the ship with the most people.
Well, we go after the ship that is actually salvageable.
Yeah.
At this point, the Madison is dead in the water. As far
Yeah.
as we're concerned, everyone on board's probably already dead.
Is Bertram at this
Endeavour, we
point
can
preparing to beam to the directors goes to beam to ships to try and save as many people before they can be beamed off?
Well, this... Herein lies an issue. Yes, the Borg cube is going to go kaboom very, very quickly. You don't really have time.
Right.
So you won't have time
would
to
be
beam
okay.
on. You can swing past and snag a ship with a tractor beam, by all means, but having taken the time to park the ship, lower shields, get people on board, get them off again, is going to take too long. You're going to be in the blast radius of the Borg cube.
Can we do a scan to see which ship has roughly got the most survivors on board?
I am going to go with...
Yeah, I would assume it is the Madison because of its
It's probably
size
going to
and
be the
galaxy.
Madison because of its size. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. So it would
Okay.
be that we rescue the Madison because it
We're
is
the only ship here that could rescue the Madison, so
Yeah.
we kind of have to.
Cool.
And if we're lucky, Admiral Hayes will still be alive, so we can answer for his incompetence.
Oh, he's going to be... Yeah, just space him. Oh no, he died. Everyone
No, no.
on the command deck of the Madison, he
No,
died.
I feel if he's alive, he should actually have to answer for that dumb decision because of the amount of lives it probably cost. If he is dead on the ship, well, it's a moot point anyway. But
Yeah.
Bring him back to life so I can kill him again.
and he goes, no, he's going to get a long, humiliating trial.
Okay.
On a
All right.
drumhead.
Sadly, Admiral Hayes did die when the Borg snagged his ship because they wanted...
Oh dear.
More than likely, they either wanted to kill or assimilate the highest commanding officer. Probably in this juncture, they wanted to just kill them to disrupt the command structure. So I'm going to say that Admiral Hayes has been probably killed because the Borg would have targeted the bridge.
And we were all very sad about
And
it.
you were all very sad about it. Nevertheless, like I said, the Borg cube is destroyed. You're able to snag the Madison, but as you are floating away and the Enterprise is pursuing the Borg cube, they the Borg sphere, the Borg sphere disappears and the Enterprise goes into this rift that it creates. And there's this big wash of energy that billows out from the breach that just as suddenly closes itself. But just as you guys are trying to recombine the elements of the fleet that are have survived all of this, that's when the Navis and the Thunderchild and the Endeavour all receive distress calls from Tycho City on Luna. It appears, according to the distress call, that, well, the civilians in Tycho City on Luna are under attack. So the Endeavour, the Thunderchild, and the Navis are being requested to pull away so that you can deal with the, basically, either the evacuation of people needed or attending to whatever the situation is down there in Tycho City.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, there goes my plan of a hot dog. Thank you, Sean. And so, as we can see, the events that actually happened in canon of the Battle of Sector 001 proceeded with only a couple of interesting actually quite a few interesting changes as a result of the actions of the crew of the Navis. However, the continued actions of the Enterprise against the Borg sphere is a matter for an entirely different story. The story that we are now concerned with is the Navis, the Thunderchild, and the Endeavour all heading off to answer the distress call of Tycho City. But with the time we have remaining, I don't think that we actually have the time with which to resolve that situation. So what we are going to do, I think, is I just had a message back from our science officer who says that apparently, as well as being unavailable for today because work made him work unexpectedly, our science officer is still engaged next week, but for the 5th apparently should be free. So do we want to basically postpone the resolution of what happens on Tycho City for 2 weeks' time?
I'm good for that.
Yeah, fine by me.
We're down a
Probably
Webby,
down.
potentially.
I'm out, but I'm fine for you to carry on without me.
Okay. So I will make a note that we will go for the 5th. Our Merry Burner Traitor Day. Which we will be spending trying to figure out what's going on Tycho City as a result of whatever distress call is going on. But as a result of that, then yeah, that was the Battle of Sector 001 with the Navis included.
Navis edition.
Yeah, the Navis edition. As soon as you guys cottoned on to the way to do it, you pretty much devastated their shields. And that was the way to go. If it wasn't for the fact that at this juncture the Borg were so very much up their own arses about themselves, they might have considered acting a little differently in some places. But overall, I feel at this point the Borg were still arrogant enough to believe they could weather that. And you showed them different. So what the overall results will be as a consequence of what happened here, especially with the oh, good lord, word has escaped my brain. The way you disagreed with Admiral Hayes's plan
Well, it's not going to be noted, is it? He's not going to put it in his formal report that I disobeyed his command. But no, Andrews would fully accept any reprimand that comes her way from that.
But that is something we can deal with at a later point, if it gets dealt with at all. I mean, it seems to me to be entirely reasonable. Captain Worf obviously thought so, as did Captain... Ooh, I forgot the name of the Thunderchild's captain.
Carla. Sorry.
That's Zero?
What's bad is that you laughed at your own joke more than that, then.
I'm just going to do a quick check. Star Trek Memory Alpha the Thunderchild. It's child with an E, isn't it?
No. It's Thunderchild.
It's not. It's not Thunderchild without an E. Thank you. Actually, I shouldn't be doing Memory Alpha. It's only included in Memory Beta content. I forget the name of the captain. I'll find it out later. But nevertheless, you've more than likely got the backing from both of those in regards to the foolhardiness of that plan. One wonders maybe if Admiral Hayes had taken the had taken that kind of order from maybe someone in intelligence, because it seems like the kind of boneheaded thing intelligence would do.
I thought intelligence needed to have intelligence.
Yeah, but at the same time,
it's Team America intelligence. We've lost all our intelligence. I repeat, we've lost our intelligence.
I think what happened was
bad intelligence. Bad.
I think what happened was he was reading his Starfleet tactical manual, and he read B, but he read Bajoran, not Borg.
I think it's also
It
the.
explains everything.
Do you know the captain from Star Trek 2? It's sort of like where he's just very arrogant and just doing his nails when they're like, "Oh, the Enterprise is escaping." He's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll catch up."
oh, the Admiral from Search for Spock.
Yeah,
The captain. He was a captain, wasn't he? Captain of the Excelsior.
Yeah.
Yeah, entirely
when
possible.
Excelsior goes to warp and stalls because
These
Scotty has
bolts are
taken out.
important.
Yeah, Scotty took out the chip so it wouldn't start.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Who knows the real reason behind Admiral Hayes's wonky decision? But this has been a major battle and a major victory, although a Pyrrhic one, against the Borg. So, yeah, out of the... How many started? 51 ships started as Taskforce Bravo against the Borg, and a handful remained at the end. So, ouch. Nevertheless, we will continue with some of the consequences, potentially, as to what happened here during the Battle of Sector 001 in 2 weeks' time with our next continuation of this episode. In the meantime, unless anybody else has got anything to add? Nope.
Nope.
Then I will say thank you everybody who tuned in. And if you are watching this on YouTube later on, consider giving us a like, because it helps not only us appease our Lord and Master, the algorithm. With me, everybody. All hail the algorithm. It also helps those doing actual plays of role-playing games and promotes more Star Trek stuff, so none of that can be bad. Yeah, basically do like the Vulcans do, which is live long and prosper, but also, have actual better tactical plans than some humans, perhaps, when it comes to creatures like the Borg, and not fall into an obvious trap. But also engage in infinite diversity in infinite combinations. To say that the world is going crazier these days would be a vast understatement. But without getting political about anything, I maintain a little bit of hope for the future. So let's all give ourselves and each other a bit more hope for the future by being excellent to each other and partying on, like Bill and Ted. Maybe not exactly like Bill and Ted, because Well, they were a pair of doofuses, really, when you think about it, but hey. Nevertheless, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we will continue this in the next part of our episode. Until then, we will see you when we see you next, but for now, hailing frequencies are closed.